Something called the subglobal system. For about the last 50 years or so, our military has been involved in building a series of underground bases, tunnels, cities, roadways, everything that you need to sustain life under the ground. It's nationwide. It is extremely high tech. It has entrances in every state of the union. The most entrances are in the state of Florida, as I understand it. I've got some maps here that show diagrams of different parts of the country that these tunnels are connected to. They have roadways. People can drive literally thousands of miles underground on these roadways, and they run parallel to what's called a magnetic levitation subway system. It's a subway system where the cars are actually levitated above the rails by magnetism. They're so expensive to build that no city in the world uses them on the surface except for part of downtown Tokyo. But underground, it's all of that. They say that they're capable of speeds up to Mach 1. That's not true. They can achieve Mach 2.8. That means that you can basically start watching Star Wars in Los Angeles, and by the time it's over, you can be in Washington, D.C. if you ride one of these subways. They are used to transport passengers. Roadways are used to transport material. That's a map of the underground facilities at Dulce Base, or Mount Weather, excuse me, another deep underground military base. Within the military, these are known as the subglobal system. They use boring machines, which I'll show you here in a second. That's beneath the Capitol. These are nuclear-powered boring machines. They'll go right through solid rock. What they do is they melt the rock in front of them. They literally melt it, and they channel the liquid stone out to the side, and they pass through it, and it forms a large circular tunnel, which has the surface, as the rock cools, it's like basalt. It's smooth, like glass. Surface to these tunnels, and sometimes they'll come back and they'll do another one right beside it, make it as big as they want to. But they have quite a few of these different machines that they use. There's one coming out through a wall right there. They can go down. The average depth of these bases in cities is said to be between 7 and 9 miles deep. That's very, very deep. It's safe from anything that might happen in the surface world. They also use some very high-tech methods to conceal the entrances to these tunnels. Some of them are on military reservations, as I'll show you. But some of them also can be built into mountainsides, and they use holographic images. The military has very high-tech holographic capabilities. Yes. That's the size. I mean, you can see the people there in front of it. They're enormous. They can go up to 8 miles a day with these drilling machines. And they've been doing this for a half century or so. So you can imagine, and they've got a lot of these machines. So you can imagine that they have made a lot of progress. There's another one, part of one. But as you can see, they're enormous. And the facilities that they make are enormous. Here's an interesting one, I think.
You said 8 miles a day?
They can go 8 miles a day with these drilling machines. That's a lot of miles. And they just literally melt the rock in front of them. They're nuclear powered, which I don't have the details on that. But they literally melt the rock in front of them and then go through it. The rock is shunted out to the side, hardens, seals into like a glass-like, smooth surface. And a friend of mine, acquaintance of mine, was a colonel in the United States Air Force, worked his whole career in black ops, and he once told me that he wanted, before he retired, to take a civilian into one of these underground complexes. And he wanted to take me down there, and I said, well, I don't have any security clearance, how are you going to get me in there? And he said, you don't understand. When I walk through the door, I'm the commanding officer. They don't tell me who can come in, I tell them who can come in. And so he took me down there once, and it's mind-blowing. The technology that they use it's Star Wars technology. It's beyond anything you see. They don't use telephones underground. They use holographic things like, help me Obi-Wan. Remember that thing in Star Wars, help me Obi-Wan? That's what they use. When you call someone up down there on a telephone, what we'd call a telephone, they appear beside you, or they'll appear sitting at their desk, and they look just like they're there. And that's how you will appear to them. And that's the technology it's all underground uses this technology. It's all stuff that we don't have access to. They have access to anything they need, you know. It's the military. They have access to any kind of materials that they need to use. These bases they're massive and they are widespread and they're not linear. They branch off. They have warehouses. They have giant hydroponic farms. They have their own system of water, their own system of oxygen. They don't rely on the surface for any of these things. They have stocked up warehouses full of anything you can imagine that you would need to survive for 200 or 300 years. Dulce is, the things you've heard about Dulce are true. It is basically, as I understand it, it is now controlled by aliens, not humans. There was a battle there that took place 30 years ago, probably. We got creamed. We sent a bunch of special forces down there. We got creamed. But as I understand Dulce Base, it is it is connected to this underground system that I'm speaking of, by the way. It is primarily used as a genetics laboratory, as I understand it. They create chimeras. You know what chimeras are? They're a cross between one type of life and another, okay? They are, the reptilians and some other alien races are very advanced genetic engineers. And we have gotten some of this technology from them. An example of a chimera that they've created is a cross between a spider and a goat. Okay? You think, why would they do that? They do it because when they make Kevlar armor, they use spider webs because it's so strong for its size, much stronger than steel. But it takes a lot of spiders to spin Kevlar vests. And they need more Kevlar vests than they can get spiders' webs for. So they combine a goat and a spider, and they end up with goats that can spin webs. Yes, yes. And they use these to produce spider webs for Kevlar armor. I've seen a photograph of a manticore. Manticore is a cross between a human and a lion. I've seen a photograph of actually a film of one in a lab. It was a terrible thing. It was the body from here up was a human woman, appeared to be a human woman, and the body from the waist down was a lion, and it didn't look like she could move. She was laying on a table. A bunch of people were shouting at her in what appeared to be Arabic. I don't know where it was from, but it's a terrible thing, and there are no laws against doing this. It's such a futuristic technology that most people don't even have any idea that it can be accomplished, but it can be, and it is. And at Dulce Base, they're doing it every day. They create humans with gills because they want to create humans that can breathe and move underwater, right? Like mermaids. There are alien races which can do that, but they're trying to create humans. They create humans with bat wings. They cross humans with any kind of animal you can imagine. And they do it in a place called Nightmare Hall, where they keep, you know, all the people that they abduct are not returned home. Some are, many are, but many are not. They just vanish. They'll take street people. They'll take kids off the streets of India that are poor and nobody cares about. Nobody's going to chase after them if they just vanish. They're an untouchable couple's kid in India. No one cares if they're the cops. No one cares. There are thousands of these people, and they're kept underground at bases like Dulce. And they're put in cages, and they're kept there for the rest of their lives. And they do these medical experiments on them without their permission, of course, without their consent. They can't get away. The staff is instructed not to speak to them because they say that they're they're crazy and they've had all these experiments done to them, and it'll ruin all the progress they're making if the staff listens to them or speaks to them. So they can't even communicate with anyone. They can't even tell anyone that they're being held captive. The staff won't listen. Before you can work at a place like Dulce Base or Area 51 now, you have to sign a paper in which you agree to have your memory chemically erased at the end of your shift every day. So you go to work, you do your job, you come out, psh, they take your memory away, and you don't know what you've done, you don't know who you've worked with, you don't know if you worked beside aliens, you don't know if you worked with chimeras, you don't know if you were involved in alien abductions, you don't know.
So this just erases the memory of that day, it doesn't go back?
Right. This is how advanced these drugs are that they're using. They're designer drugs, and they do the same thing for people. I'm going to be talking Sunday morning about the moon and Mars and the colonies we have there and the aliens which inhabit those worlds. And I know at least a half dozen people that have been stationed at Mars base. I've got pictures of the above ground part of it. Dulce Base is a secret. It's as secret as Area 51. It's an underground base on a place called Arcolita Mesa in New Mexico, and it is 6 to 6.5 levels underground. I say 6 to 6.5 because in between the second and third level, there's kind of a little half level that they use as a prison. It's got prison cells in it where they keep captured aliens. The military doesn't treat most aliens as guests. They treat some of them as prisoners, and that's where they keep them. But the deeper down you go in Dulce Base, the higher the security gets, and the worse the situation gets. When you get down to the fourth level, it's called Nightmare Hall. This is where they do these genetic experiments I was describing. They produce clones. Thousands and thousands of clones. They're trying to produce super soldiers. They produce grays. Gray aliens, the classic ETs with the big wraparound eyes. Those are actually genetically engineered creatures. They're not a naturally occurring type of a being. They are created, and they've been relegated to slave status by the reptilian race which created them. They are entirely telepathic. They operate with like a hive mind. They don't have any emotions. There's no such thing as a friendly gray, okay? If somebody tries to tell you that there's friendly grays, they're full of crap. I've met more grays than I could possibly want to ever remember, and I would exterminate them if I had the power. There's nothing good about them whatsoever. They don't care if you hurt, they don't care if you're uncomfortable, they don't care if you're terrified, they don't care. They're programmed to do a job, they'll do it. They have IQs of about 80, they're not very smart. They are responsible for most of the UFO crashes which take place, because they're also not very good pilots, according to my friend in the Pentagon. The bottom two levels at Dulce Base, humans are not allowed to enter or access in any way. They are occupied by a variety of alien races. One of them is the mantid race. One of them is the reptilian race, the draconians. Some of them are grays. There are many different types of grays, aliens, because the military is aware of at least 160 different alien races right now. They are not all distinct because many of them are very ancient. They've had technology for millions, tens, hundreds of millions of years, some of them. All the stuff in Star Trek, they've got all that stuff and more. And since then, as I understand it, the aliens control that base, and we are there with their permission. They control other bases around this world too, many bases, underground, underwater. I grew up in Yakima, Washington, which is in the center of the state. And out in my backyard, all the time I was growing up, I could see this great big mountain called Mount Adams. Washington is more famous for Mount Rainier because it's a taller mountain, but Mount Adams is bigger. It's more massive. It's bigger in girth. It's the biggest mountain in the Cascade Range. And it rests on an Indian reservation. It's a holy sacred mountain to the Indian tribe, the Yakama Indians. And because of that, nobody is allowed on to Mount Adams. I lived there first 22 years of my life, I guess, and I never met anyone who'd been on Mount Adams. And it was right there. The closest road that comes to it is 16 miles. Reptilians were already here. They've been here for thousands, many thousands of years. They live underground. Their bases, as I understand it, can be as deep as 25 miles down in naturally occurring caverns. There are many huge naturally occurring caverns in this world, and they've expanded them. It's not just bases down there. There's roadways, there's warehouses, there's weapon storage, there are ships. They've got canals coming into the tunnels. Did any of you see the picture a couple years ago of looked like an undersea base entrance off the coast of Malibu, California? Remember that? That is our base. That is our interest, not an alien base. That belongs to us. And once you go in that entrance, there are underground waterways, mostly natural, which a submarine can navigate all the way to a little lake in Arizona. Yes, all the way under California. There's a Navy base and a little lake in Arizona. Nobody knows why. It's because submarines can cruise right through to that base. Yes. Anyway, they have systematically drained the resources of this nation for decades for these alien projects. I'm going to be speaking about other alien projects on Sunday morning. You should be here if you can. You won't be disappointed. But they've systematically stripped this nation of its wealth. They've used all this drug money. They've stolen all of our gold. They've done it all to build these bases for the benefit of only a few people. These bases are protected, by the way, by 25-ton blast doors, the same type that they used in Cheyenne Mountain. At least if I can get some more pictures up here. These tunnels, I started to say, they're protected by 25-ton blast doors, the same type they used to protect Cheyenne Mountain, which was NORAD headquarters, right? They're so well balanced that one person can close these doors and seal them shut. Once they're sealed shut, it takes a direct strike from an atomic bomb to open those doors again. They cannot be, they're immune to any other type of attack, okay? And they're multiple doors. Let me get some other photos up here. These are some of the entrances that are on military bases. This is on Mount Shasta, yes. But they also have holographic projections which can make it look just like a mountainside, like a rocks with a little stream flowing down it, and a street that's been mysteriously destroyed a quarter mile away that they can rebuild in 3 hours and start trucking stuff back in there. Anyways, these blast doors, look at this. Those are logos of the CIA, the NSA, the Department of the Navy, and I can't remember the other one. But it's our secret intelligence agencies which monitor all your phone calls and electronic transmissions. The NSA has all of your voices on tape. They have every phone call you've ever made, every chat message you ever sent. It's all recorded, and it's stored forever with the idea of using it against you if they ever need to. They're all over. I mean, the CIA has bases all across this country underground where they store stuff that they don't want to store above ground. It's just where they store quantum computers, a network of them that are all hooked together. They work hundreds of thousands of times faster than any computer we're familiar with. These blast doors, they use multiple doors. It's not just one door like Cheyenne Mountain had. They use 2 or 3 doors in a row, okay? Every one of them is a 25-ton blast door. You can't get in that door. It's to keep us out. There's no one else trying to come in except us. They are expecting the people that run this world, the people that control this world. These are the pictures of the subways, some of these maglev subways. The people that control this world, they're not expecting funny little rabbit fur aliens to come marching in to save our asses, okay? They're expecting trouble. These places are set up, it's stored with our money, they're stocked with supplies we've paid for, enough to stay down there for 200 to 300 years at least. At least. They are expecting something very bad that's going to make the surface world uninhabitable to occur. And they're so sure that it's going to happen that they've stripped the resources of this country to build this underground sanctuary just for themselves. We're not going to be allowed in. The elite are going to be in there, the people that control the military, that control the intelligence agencies, head of the Illuminati, and the people that they need to serve their needs. They've got hyper modern medical facilities. They've got cities with malls in them, completely empty. They've got people already living there in some of these places. They've got everything that you can imagine. They've got warehouses full of food. They've got their ability to produce their own food. They've got warehouses full of commodities, weapons. They've got ships. They've got planes. They've got, you name it. You'll never get in these places. And they are expecting to lock us out and leave us here to die. That's the plan. The maximum capacity of all these cities, if they were all fully inhabited, is less than 1 million people.